Dogs and their human companions develop enduring and strong bonds over their lifetimes, a truly remarkable connection. Nevertheless, it can be truly heart-wrenching to see dogs grieving the loss of their owners who pass away before them. However, the ultimate example of loyalty was exemplified by a specific dog that faithfully rested by their owner's grave for an astonishing 12 years. What happened next, however, was undeniably shocking, leaving everyone in a state of devastation and tears. Miguel Guzman's lifelong love for dogs was evident from his childhood, growing up in homes filled with these delightful furry companions. He cherished their lively spirits and the unwavering affection they showed, highlighting that one could always count on a dog's loyalty. As Miguel matured and left his family's home, the idea of having his own canine companion began to take shape. Confident in his ability to provide love and care, he paid a visit to a shelter and found a beautiful young puppy named Capitan, a stunning German Shepherd. Miguel couldn't resist Capitan's enchanting large eyes and the joyful wag of his tail when he picked him up. The shelter staff playfully remarked that the puppy had already chosen his new owner. Fortunately, Miguel readily agreed, and he promptly adopted this charming and adorable puppy. Back at home, their bond flourished as they shared experiences and grew together. They embarked on various adventures, enjoying leisurely walks through the streets to stay active. Capitan reveled in his trips to the park, where he would frolic freely with sticks, balls, and other dogs, partaking in playful chases. After his energetic playtime, he would rest his tired head on Miguel's lap as they sat together on a park bench. For Miguel, the connection he shared with Capitan ran deep, fueled by his profound affection for the little dog and the solace and companionship Capitan brought to his apartment. At times, he found greater solace in the company of dogs than in that of people, and having Capitan by his side filled him with boundless joy. However, fate took an unexpected turn when Miguel fell seriously ill, unable to engage in their cherished walks or even leave the house. He kept his battle with throat cancer a secret, knowing he had only a few weeks left to live. Despite the excruciating pain he endured, Miguel remained resolute in providing Capit a life filled with happiness and wonder. Amidst his struggles, Miguel would lovingly stroke his devoted and affectionate canine companion, Capitan. The loyal dog would sit faithfully by his side, offering companionship as they shared moments watching TV. Miguel's determination endured until the inevitable day when he didn't wake up, found peacefully at rest in his apartment. Capitan lay sound asleep on Miguel's lap. The presence of the faithful dog brought immense comfort to Miguel's grieving parents, knowing that Capitan had been with their son during his final moments. With Capitan at the family home, Miguel's parents commenced arranging Miguel's funeral. However, the loyal dog's behavior took an unexpected and concerning turn. Straying from his usual demeanor, Capitan roamed around the new surroundings, exhibiting signs of loneliness and yearning for the affection and attention he had received from Miguel. He struggled to find contentment, his appetite waned, and a palpable sadness overtook him. Just as Miguel's family mourned their loss, Capitan grieved the departure of his beloved owner and closest friend. Coping with the loss proved overwhelming, prompting Capitan to make a decision that surprised everyone. He ran away. As soon as the door opened, Capitan seized the opportunity and dashed down the street. The family had buried Miguel recently and were too overwhelmed with grief to chase after the fleeing dog immediately. But when they finally began their quest to find him, they stumbled upon an incredibly poignant scene that shattered their hearts. They knew Capitan had ended up in the most unusual location, a discovery that weighed heavily on Miguel's family. In an extraordinary twist, Capitan had made his way to the graveyard where Miguel was interred at the gravesite of his departed owner. The dog lay atop the grave as if seeking to offer warmth amidst the cold, muddy earth. Witnessing this sight, Miguel's mother and father were deeply moved. His father tenderly stroked Capitan, attempting to attach a collar to lead him back home. However, the dog retreated several paces away, making it evident that he was reluctant to leave the sacred ground. Despite the family's persistent efforts, they found themselves unable to coax him away from the final resting place of his beloved former owner. Fortunately, Miguel's mother managed to catch hold of the dog and carried him back home. Yet within moments of their return, Capitan broke free again, dashing back to the gravesite. His profound grief was evident, and he seemed determined to remain by his master's side. Recognizing Capitan's attachment, the family surmised he wasn't ready to depart from his beloved owner's resting place. They hoped that with time, Capitan might eventually choose to return home on his terms. With this understanding, the family decided to allow Capitan to stay at the cemetery. They faithfully visited their son's grave daily, bringing sustenance, food, and water. Capitan would gratefully partake in these offerings before returning to lay on the grave again. Despite appearing weary and lonely, Capitan never wished to leave the cemetery, maintaining his steadfast vigil. Over the subsequent years, this unique companionship endured. At times, Capitan would wander off, retrieving a stick and placing it atop the grave, perhaps a poignant attempt to engage in a game of fetch with his departed owner. Naturally, such interactions remained unfulfilled. As time passed, Capitan began to exhibit the signs of aging, his coat graying and mobility diminishing. He seemed content to remain stationary, often opting to sit rather than roam. Each day when Miguel's family arrived to visit, Capitan's tail would wag enthusiastically, accompanied by a hearty bark of greeting. The faithful dog would sit alongside them, allowing them to pet and shower him affectionately. Having relinquished the idea of bringing Capitan home long ago, Miguel's family found solace because their son's loyal companion provided him with companionship. As time marched on, Capitan's age began to catch up with him. Despite his limitations, he continued to welcome Miguel's family with the same exuberance, allowing them to stroke him just as they always had. However, his health began to deteriorate. His vision faded, and mobility became increasingly challenging. Faced with this declining condition, Miguel's family called upon a veterinarian for an evaluation. After a series of tests, the vet determined that Capitan was also grappling with kidney failure, an ailment for which no viable treatment existed. The family was confronted with a painful decision to alleviate Capitan's suffering. Arrangements were made for the vet to return the following day to peacefully euthanize Capitan, allowing him one final night in the cemetery, close to his owner's resting place. However, what unfolded next would prove to be more heart-wrenching than anyone could have imagined, leaving all those involved in profound sorrow. With the arrival of morning, Miguel's mother ventured to the cemetery early, hoping to spend one last hour with Capitan before the difficult decision had to be made. As she approached the grave, an unsettling realization dawned upon her. Capitan appeared as though he were still peacefully asleep. His unusual stillness struck her deeply. Even in his aged and frail state, Capitan would typically stir and make his way towards anyone who approached. The heart-wrenching truth became apparent as Miguel's mother cautiously approached the gravesite. Overwhelming devastation washed over her, causing torrents of tears to cascade down her cheeks. Capitan had passed away during the night. His ailments had taken their toll before the scheduled veterinary intervention. The loyal dog, who had diligently watched over his owner's final resting place for over a decade, had finally found peace, reuniting with Miguel once more. Amidst her grief, the tears that flowed from Miguel's mother were a blend of sorrow and, to some extent, relief. The undeniable and unbreakable bond between her son and Capitan was evident, a connection that persisted through their lives and even in death. Capitan found his resting place in a small grave above Miguel's, allowing them to reunite. The family held a modest service to commemorate Capitan's unwavering loyalty and affection, despite losing his master 12 years earlier. This poignant tale comes to a close with Capitan resting under a comforting blanket, once again beside the owner he held dear in his devoted canine heart. Thankfully, Capitan's touching story gained recognition, elevating him to local celebrity status. In tribute to the dog's eternal faithfulness, the city established a beautiful memorial in his honor. This gesture ensured that the memory of Capitan, one of the world's most loyal dogs, would forever live on in the hearts and minds of people, a symbol of unwavering devotion. What are your thoughts on this remarkable tale? Have you ever come across another animal that exhibited such extraordinary loyalty and affection, akin to Capitan's? Share your experiences with us in the comments section below. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and consider to share it with your loved ones. Also, press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.